Chapter 1: Shadows of the Past. Detective Sarah Monroe stood at the entrance of Ravenbrook Police Station, her eyes surveying the bustling police officers going about their duties. The city she had grown up in had lost its vibrancy, transforming into a haunting place where fear permeated the air. Her latest assignment, a series of baffling murder cases that had left the town gripped with terror, weighed heavily on her mind. As Sarah made her way to her desk, she couldn't help but notice the wall adorned with photographs of the victims. Each face told a story of a life cut short, innocent souls sacrificed to a macabre game. The victims seemed unrelated, their backgrounds varying, but a sinister pattern emerged, each murder meticulously staged to mimic scenes from famous classic novels. Leaning over her desk, Sarah examined the case files. The victims, all literary enthusiasts, were found with cryptic messages left behind, further plunging the police force into confusion. The message was clear, a challenge to their intellect, their ability to solve the crimes and bring the culprits to justice. Her partner, Detective James Reynolds, approached her with a cup of coffee. She accepted it gratefully and took a sip, the bitter heat momentarily driving away the heavy fog in her mind. "Morning, Sarah." "Another gloomy day in Ravenbrook," James said, his voice laced with exhaustion. "Good morning, James," Sarah responded, a hint of determination in her voice. "I'm not going to let these murders go unsolved. We need to find out who is behind this, and fast." James nodded, his eyes mirroring her determination. "Agreed. It's time to shed some light on this darkness. Have you found any leads?" Sarah sighed, her fingers tracing the rim of her coffee cup. "Nothing concrete yet. But I did notice a recurring motif in all the crime scenes. The words, 'The Literary Circle,' were carved into a bookshelf and etched onto a desk. It's as if they want the attention, want us to know they're watching." James narrowed his eyes, deep in thought. "The Literary Circle, I've never heard of such a group. What is their motive? Are they bored thrill-seekers, or is there something more sinister at play?" Sarah's gaze drifted to the photographs on the wall once again, her heart weighed down by the responsibility of solving the cases. "We need to dig deeper, find any connections between these victims. It's clear they were chosen for their love of literature, but there must be something more that unites them." Suddenly, the metallic sound of a ringing phone echoed through the station. Sarah and James exchanged a glance before hurrying to answer it. It was the forensic lab, their analysis yielding a significant breakthrough. The cryptic messages left at the crime scenes, the lab technician said, his voice filled with excitement. "We managed to decrypt one of them. It mentions a rendezvous at the city's abandoned library tonight." Sarah's heart raced with anticipation. "Thank you. We'll be there." As she hung up the phone, Sarah's mind filled with questions. Who were these literary fanatics, and what horrors awaited them within the walls of the abandoned library? Determined to find the answers, she grabbed her coat and led James out of the police station, ready to unveil the shadows of the past and bring an end to the nightmare that had engulfed Ravenbrook. Chapter 2: Secrets Unveiled. Sarah and James drove through the dimly lit streets of Ravenbrook, the headlights of their unmarked police car cutting through the darkness. The abandoned library loomed ahead, its dilapidated facade a stark contrast to the vibrant books it once housed. As they approached the entrance, Sarah's heart pounded in her chest, a mixture of anticipation and trepidation. She knew stepping foot inside would bring them closer to the truth, but also closer to danger. The heavy wooden door creaked open, revealing an eerie scene within. The scent of old books and musty air filled their nostrils, as if the library had been forgotten by time itself. Sarah and James cautiously stepped inside, their eyes scanning the room for any signs of life. "Look over there," James whispered, pointing to a flickering candle illuminating a small wooden table in the center of the room. A carefully placed note lay beside it. Sarah approached the table, her hands trembling slightly. She picked up the note and read the cryptic message written in elegant calligraphy. "Welcome, detectives, to our twisted game. To uncover our secrets, you must solve the riddles we shall present. Failure to do so will have grave consequences. James swallowed hard, his eyes filled with a mix of determination and unease. Let's show them we're up for the challenge, Sarah. They won't get away with these murders. Sarah nodded, her voice steady. We won't let them. Let's see what riddles they have in store for us. As Sarah and James focused on the note, they noticed a book nearby that seemed out of place. Sarah pulled it from the shelf, revealing a hidden compartment behind it. Inside, they found a handwritten letter. Sarah read the letter aloud, her voice filled with disbelief. To the esteemed members of the literary circle. The letter went on to describe the twisted pleasure the members derived from staging the murders, reveling in their intricate plans, and the thrill of misleading the police. James clenched his fists, anger and determination coursing through his veins. These sick individuals think they're playing a game. Well, we're going to show them that justice is not a game. Suddenly, the sound of a door closing echoed through the library, followed by footsteps. Sarah and James exchanged a glance, silently acknowledging that they were no longer alone. A figure emerged from the shadows, dressed in a tailored suit and holding a book in his hands. His face concealed in darkness, he spoke with an air of superiority. Ah, Detective Monroe and Reynolds, how delightful to finally meet you. I have been expecting this encounter. Sarah stepped forward, her voice filled with authority. Who are you? What is the literary circle? The figure chuckled, his voice filled with twisted amusement. We are a society that appreciates the art of murder as a form of literature. Our actions serve as homage to the great works that have shaped our minds and society. James gritted his teeth, his voice laced with contempt. Murder is not art, it is a heinous crime. Your actions will not go unpunished. The figure smirked, his eyes gleaming with malevolence. We shall see, detectives. The game is not over. Solve the next riddle, and perhaps you shall uncover more of our secrets. With those words, the figure vanished into the darkness, leaving Sarah and James alone once again. They looked at each other, sharing a moment of silent determination. We won't let them win, Sarah said firmly. We'll find their next clue, and we'll bring them to justice, no matter the cost. James nodded, his voice resolute. Together, we'll unravel their twisted game and put an end to their reign of terror. With renewed determination, Sarah and James ventured further into the abandoned library, eager to unveil the next piece of the puzzle and expose the literary circle's secrets to the light of justice. Chapter 3: The Maze of Words. Sarah and James maneuvered through the labyrinthine corridors of the abandoned library, their footsteps echoing in the silence. The detectives had deciphered the riddle left by the literary circle and were closing in on their next clue. As they turned a corner, they found themselves in a room filled with crates and old books stacked haphazardly. A small wooden chest sat on a pedestal in the center of the room, adorned with intricate carvings. It was the next puzzle they needed to solve. Sarah approached the chest, her eyes examining the carvings. We need to find a way to unlock it, she said, her voice filled with determination. James nodded in agreement, observing the carvings more closely. Look, Sarah, each carving represents a famous author. The key to unlocking the chest must lie within their works. Sarah's eyes sparkled with realization. Of course. We need to find the correct combination of author names to unlock the chest. They began scouring the room for clues, searching for hidden messages or connections that would lead them to the right combination. After what felt like an eternity, Sarah found a worn-out book with bits of paper tucked between its pages. She carefully extracted a small piece of paper, unfolding it to reveal a handwritten passage. It read, "In the realm of mystery and crime, seek the name that rings with rhyme." James rubbed his chin thoughtfully. A mystery author with a rhyming name, let's think. Sarah's eyes lit up with a flash of realization. Edgar Allan Poe. His name rhymes. They rushed back to the chest and inserted Edgar Allan Poe into the lock. With a soft click, the chest popped open, revealing a meticulously handwritten letter. Sarah read the letter aloud, her voice laced with urgency. Detectives, you are one step closer to understanding the intricate web we have woven. The next clue lies where the shadows whisper secrets. James narrowed his eyes, deep in thought. Where would that be? A secluded place, perhaps? Sarah pondered for a moment. The old abandoned bookstore on the outskirts of town. It's the perfect place for shadows to whisper secrets. Without wasting another moment, they left the library and headed towards the eerie solitude of the abandoned bookstore. The old building stood before them, its windows shrouded in darkness, a haunting presence in the moonlit night. Entering the bookstore, the detectives were enveloped by a musty scent. The room was bathed in an ethereal glow as the moon's gentle rays seeped through the cracked windows. Sarah and James walked cautiously, the wooden floorboards creaking with each step. As they reached the back of the store, Sarah's keen eyes caught sight of a flickering candle in an alcove surrounded by books. They approached it slowly, their hearts pounding in unison. A soft voice emanated from the shadows. "Ah, you've arrived, detectives. Impressive." Sarah scanned the room, trying to find the source of the voice. "Who's there?" A tall figure stepped into the light, revealing a woman with piercing green eyes and a mischievous smile. "I am Evelyn Hawthorne, a lover of literature and the mind behind the literary circle." James stepped forward, his voice filled with conviction. "Your twisted game ends now, Evelyn. We've come to bring you to justice." Evelyn chuckled, her voice laced with contempt. "Justice is a matter of perspective, Detective Reynolds. What I have done is merely an exploration of the boundaries of human intellect and creativity." Sarah crossed her arms, her eyes locked with Evelyn's. "Your games have cost innocent lives. There is no excuse for that." Evelyn's smile wavered slightly, her eyes betraying a hint of doubt. "Perhaps you're right. But you'll never understand the beauty of our creations." With those words, Evelyn vanished into thin air, leaving an air of uncertainty in the room. Sarah and James exchanged a look, their determination unfaltering. "We may not understand her twisted perspective, but we will bring the literary circle to justice," Sarah declared. James nodded, resolute. "We won't rest until we unravel every thread of this dark tapestry and expose their secrets to the world." With their resolve renewed, Sarah and James left the abandoned bookstore, ready to delve deeper into the enigma of the literary circle and put an end to their reign of terror once and for all. Chapter 4: Unmasking the Mastermind. Sarah and James gathered their evidence and reports, retreating to the sanctuary of the police station. Their encounters with Evelyn Hawthorne and the literary circle had intensified their determination to bring them to justice. The pair spent countless hours poring over clues, cross-referencing data, and analyzing the twisted motives behind the murders. As they sat in Sarah's office, surrounded by piles of case files, James rubbed his temples wearily. "We need a breakthrough, Sarah. We've come so far, but we're still missing a key piece of the puzzle." Sarah leaned back in her chair, frustration etched on her face. "I know, James. There's something we're not seeing, something we're overlooking. We need a fresh perspective." Just then, Officer Mark Thompson knocked on the partially open door, peering inside tentatively. "Detectives, I think I may have stumbled upon something important." Sarah and James exchanged hopeful glances, gesturing for Officer Thompson to enter. "What did you find?" Sarah asked, her voice filled with anticipation. Officer Thompson handed them a meticulously marked map. "I was going through old records and stumbled upon a report. It details an abandoned underground hideout beneath an old theater, known as the Raven's Lair. It used to be a gathering place for secret societies." Sarah's eyes widened, realization washing over her. The Raven's Lair, it fits the profile. The literary circle is likely using that as their base of operations. James nodded, his voice resonating with determination. "If we want to catch them, we need to plan our move carefully. We don't know how many members they have or what they're capable of." Sarah turned to Officer Thompson. "Thank you for bringing this to our attention. We'll need a team ready for action at the Raven's lair. Officer Thompson nodded, a mixture of excitement and nervousness in his eyes. You can count on me, detectives. We're all eager to put an end to this nightmare. Days later, the elite team assembled outside the Raven's lair, ready to infiltrate the hidden underground lair. The group's eyes met, each understanding the gravity of the mission ahead. Sarah could sense the unease mingling with their determination, but she knew they were prepared for whatever they might encounter. With silent nods and gestures, they descended into the dark abyss beneath the theater, the echoing sound of their footsteps amplifying the tension in the air. As they navigated through the dimly lit corridors, Sarah's heart pounded, her senses heightened. Sudden voices, soft and muffled, reached their ears. They cautiously followed the sound, taking care to remain concealed. As they approached a large chamber, they saw a gathering of individuals enveloped in conversation. Evelyn Hawthorne stood at the center, her emerald eyes gleaming with defiance. Our actions, though unconventional, have awoken the dormant minds of this town. We are agents of change, challenging the complacency within society. Sarah stepped forward, her voice firm. Evelyn Hawthorne, you and your followers are under arrest for the murders committed in Ravenbrook. There is no justification for your sadistic games. Evelyn turned to face them, her voice dripping with venom. Detective Monroe, you underestimate the power of our words and actions. Our work will leave a lasting legacy behind. Just as the tension reached its peak, the room was engulfed in chaos. The elite team, acting swiftly, restrained the members of the literary circle. Sarah locked eyes with Evelyn, her voice filled with raw determination. Your twisted legacy ends here. The power of justice will prevail. Evelyn struggled against her restraints, her eyes ablaze with defiance. You may have caught us, but you'll never break the power of ideas. Our influence will live on. Sarah exchanged a glance with James, her voice unwavering. We'll ensure that justice prevails and that the victims will be remembered, not as pawns in your game, but as innocent lives stolen from us. With Evelyn and the members of the literary circle apprehended, Ravenbrook could finally breathe a sigh of relief. The haunted city could begin the process of healing, ridding itself of the darkness that had festered for so long. But Sarah knew that even as the city moved forward, the memory of the literary circle and their twisted games would forever remain etched in her own mind. She vowed to pursue justice, always mindful of the shadows lurking beneath the surface, ready to be unveiled at any moment. Chapter 5: The Healing Pen. Months had passed since the apprehension of Evelyn Hawthorne and the dismantling of the literary circle. The haunting city of Ravenbrook slowly regained its vibrancy, as new life breathed into its streets. The memory of the murders still lingered in the minds of its residents, but a newfound sense of hope began to replace the fear that had once consumed them. Detective Sarah Monroe sat at her desk, surrounded by a semblance of order among the remnants of the investigation. As she reflected on the events that had unfolded, she couldn't help but feel a sense of satisfaction mixed with melancholy. The journey had been arduous, but justice had been served. Suddenly, a knock on her office door jolted her from her thoughts. Officer Thompson peeked inside, a hesitant smile on his face. Detective Monroe, may I have a word? Sarah motioned for him to enter. Of course, Officer Thompson. What can I do for you? Officer Thompson took a deep breath, his eyes filled with determination. I've been thinking. The story of the literary circle and its twisted games, it would make a great novel. A symbol of how justice triumphs over darkness. Sarah's eyes sparkled with genuine interest. You think so? Officer Thompson nodded, a flare of excitement in his voice. Absolutely. I've always had a passion for writing, and I believe that sharing this story could inspire others to stand up against injustice. A smile tugged at the corners of Sarah's lips. I think you're onto something, Officer Thompson. Writing can be a healing process, a way to shed light on the darkest corners of human nature. It has the power to bring people together, to evoke empathy and understanding. Officer Thompson leaned against her desk, a glimmer of hope in his eyes. Would you be willing to help me with this endeavor, Detective Monroe? I could use your insights and expertise. Sarah nodded, her voice filled with enthusiasm. I would be honored, Officer Thompson. Together, we can weave a tale of resilience, of how a community overcame darkness and found redemption. And so, they embarked on a new journey together, their pens dancing across the pages, giving life to a story that would echo through the ages. As they delved into the depths of their shared experiences, each word carried a weight, a testament to the perseverance of the human spirit. Sarah realized that sometimes the most profound healing came not only from the pursuit of justice but also from the power of storytelling. Through their collaboration, they aimed to inspire, to remind others that even in the face of unimaginable darkness, there was always hope. In time, their novel would be published, its pages becoming a testament to the resilience that lay within every individual. The story would serve not only as a reminder of the horrors that occurred but also as a symbol of the strength that emerged from the ashes. As the last words were written, Sarah closed the manuscript and looked at Officer Thompson. We did it. We've captured the essence of what happened, the triumph over darkness. It's a story that will touch the hearts of many. Officer Thompson smiled, a sense of fulfillment enveloping him. Thank you, Detective Monroe, for helping me bring this story into existence. It is through storytelling that we can heal, unite, and create a brighter future. Sarah stood up, a sense of purpose filling her. Indeed it is, Officer Thompson. Let our words be a testament to the strength of the human spirit and a beacon of hope for those who may face their own trials in the future. As they closed the door of the office, Sarah and Officer Thompson, now united as both colleagues and authors, were ready to share their story with the world. Together, they would forge a path towards healing, reminding others that even in the midst of darkness, the power of one's voice could bring about profound change.